In the meantime, the administration is defending the GOP after a scathing critique from Matt Drudge, the well-known conservative firebrand, accusing the party of ignoring its campaign promises, tweeting, quote, "Republican Party should be sued for fraud. No discussion of tax cuts now, just lots of crazy back to basics guys." Joining us now, two Fox News contributors, Richard Fowler, a radio talk show host, and Mercedes Schlapp, a GOP strategist and former spokesperson for President George W. Bush. So you know a lot of folks in the Republican Party, Mercedes. What's going on here?
Well, I think that Matt Drudge, obviously, he is incredibly popular amongst conservative circles, and he's very influential in the online world. And Drudge is making it very clear, sending a warning shot, that Republicans better move and move fast on these issues that President Trump, as well as the GOP, have focused on, the two being repeal and replace Obamacare and tax reform. Now, the reality, of course, sets in when we're dealing with Congress, and it is a slow-moving machine. We know that the first hearings on repeal and replace Obamacare in the House were happening this week. In the Senate, they're planning to move forward that on next week. So it becomes quite a challenge when you have those who are out there like Drudge, who's been very much honed in and understanding this populist movement and understanding the disappointments coming from the GOP establishment. And he's just reminding them that they got to make sure that they move fast as well as push forward on these campaign promises that both President Trump and the Republican Party has
Richard, I imagine the Republican so-called establishment would like to answer Matt Drudge that, hey, we would move faster on some of this stuff if the Democrats weren't bogging things down in the Senate.
You can't blame the Democrats on this one. My grandmother always used to say, John, a broke clock is right twice a day. And Matt Drudge is right this time, and I agree with him. I think Republicans campaigned on repealing Obamacare, pulling it out from the roots, getting rid of every word, and now you're hearing from Republicans, well, we're not really going to repeal it. One congressman said we're just going to replace it and fix it like a bridge, which is different than what they campaigned on. They talked about lowering corporate tax rates. We haven't seen a bill to do that yet either. Instead, we've seen these poorly put together executive orders. We've seen battles over some unqualified cabinet secretaries, and we haven't really seen the Republicans do what they campaigned on. This is not, you know, what Donald Trump campaigned as a populist. He's not passing populist policies. And I think the Republican establishment, the Republicans who voted for him, that's what they want, and they're not getting it.
Mercedes, do you sense this criticism is directed at President Trump? Or, I mean, the two people that Matt Drudge featured in his tweet were the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, and the head of the Senate, Mitch McConnell.
Right. Well, I think that clearly Drudge is first going to focus on what we call the Republican establishment because of the fact that Trump did win primarily because of the fact that he ran against the GOP establishment. He wasn't one of them. And so I think for Drudge, he's making it a point of saying, look, you've had 6 years, Republicans, to pull together this replacement repair plan on Obamacare, and now you got to execute. And so you see a little bit of this dragging the feet when it comes to, and it is a massive job to undertake to replace Obamacare, that now you have these Republicans basically saying, well, we'll have a bill out by March. So they're trying to buy some time. And it is partly because of the way that they haven't necessarily agreed upon what is going to be in the bill. It's going to be a mixture probably of Speaker Ryan's better way, as well as former Congressman Tom Price's legislation when he was in Congress. So I think you're going to find that those two are going to mix together, but the final details, they're just not there yet.
All right, real quickly, Richard.
Mercedes, right, the final details aren't there, John, and I think, you know, Republicans who voted for Donald Trump, who voted against the establishment, must remember Mitch McConnell is, when you look at establishment, he's the picture right next to it in the dictionary. So is Paul Ryan. So is Elaine Chao. So if you voted for a non-establishment candidate, this party is being run by the establishment.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
Mitch McConnell is the establishment. Paul Ryan is the establishment, right, Mercedes? Both of those gentlemen. Yeah, but both of the other two people run. Yeah, but Mitch McConnell is the leader of the Senate. He's the establishment. Paul Ryan is the leader of the House. He's the establishment. Elaine Chao, she's the establishment. She's his transportation secretary. That's the establishment.
Well, but Donald Trump is not. So we'll see how these two behemoths come together and what they can get done. Thanks very much. Richard Fowler, Mercedes
Good to see you, John.